In this video, I wanted to give you more information about when it comes to the process of working with a certification body. Okay, so after you have implemented your management system within your organization, you will be looking for a certification body. And the first question that would pop up into your mind would be who to get certified with. Okay, so there are different certification bodies that you can work with, and the most important thing that you have to consider is that you have to work with an accredited certification body. What does this mean? There are different certification bodies in the world. Okay, some are based in Malta, other are based in other countries. For example, in Italy, in England, different countries have different certification bodies. And given that this is an international standard, therefore you can choose to work with any certification body that you would like to work with. Having said that, some certification bodies offer the service of a certification body even though they are not accredited. This means that practically their certificate is worthless. Therefore, when you are working with a certification body, the first thing that you have to consider is that you are working with an accredited certification body. And then there are different options when it comes to these accredited certification bodies. Some of them have very famous brands, okay, and other are less famous. As long as you are working with an accredited certification body, they all carry the same weight when it comes to the actual certificate, and effectively working with a famous certification body will invariably increase the price of your actual ISO certification, and in my personal opinion, it doesn't add much value to the implementation of your management system. Having said that, I strongly suggest that you get in touch with different certification bodies, making sure that they are accredited before choosing the certification body that you would like to work with. The second topic that I would like to talk about is the costs that are associated with carrying out a certification audit. Okay? So the price of the certification body depends on different aspects. As I have mentioned earlier, one of the most important factors when choosing the price of or when identifying the price for a certification body is the actual certification body, okay? The brand associated with that certification body, because ultimately certification bodies are free to price their service how they please. Having said that, there are two main criteria that all certification bodies consider when pricing their service for clients, which are the size and the sector of your organization. Naturally, the larger the organization, the more number of people working with the organization, the longer the audit will have to be, and therefore the higher the price would be for larger organizations when compared to smaller organizations. Another question that certification bodies ask when getting their information to be able to give you the quote would be the industry of your organization, the NACE code, for example, whereby with this NACE code they will be able to determine the complexity of the operations of your organization, and that also has an impact on the duration of your audit. Therefore, the number of employees and the sector of your organization have an impact on the duration of the audit, and both of these elements effectively have an effect on the price that the certification body will give you. And once again, I wanted to explain that the price greatly depends on the certification body that you are going to choose to work with. I know that some of my clients would like to have a ballpark figure, okay, before starting an ISO implementation project. And for a company, for example, employing around 15 to 20 people, the price for ISO certification as charged by accredited certification bodies who are not extremely famous, okay, so their brand isn't world renowned. Having said that, they will still be offering an accredited ISO certification to your organization, the price for such a certification body will be of around 1,500 euros. Okay, so this is just a ballpark figure. Again, it depends on the certification body. I work with certification bodies that charge much less. Okay, so I work with certification bodies who, for example, can charge around 1,000 euros for certification, and I've also worked with certification bodies who charge 3,000 euros for the same size of company, for the same industry. So once again, knowing the certification body that you're going to work with is extremely important, because these different certification bodies have different prices for their services. And another question that I get asked quite often is, how long does certification last? Okay, and this is an interesting question, because on the ISO certificate itself, okay, the certificate itself has an expiry date of 3 years. This makes people think and believe that once you get ISO certified and you have the certificate, then you won't have to do anything until that certificate expires. Naturally, this is a wrong assumption, because to maintain your ISO certification, you will effectively need to do two main things. You will need to do, first of all, the internal audits and management reviews yearly, okay? And you will also need to host the certification body yearly for them to do an external audit. And over here, I wanted to quickly explain the process of certifications, of audits done by certification bodies, okay? So the first audit that is done by the certification body when they are auditing your organization to give you an ISO certification is called a certification audit. The next audit and the following audit, so the audit on the first year would be called the certification audit. The audit on the second and third year would be called a surveillance audit. And the audit on the fourth year, which would effectively mean that your ISO certification would have expired by now, the certificate itself. Therefore, they would call that a recertification audit. Effectively, from the auditee point of view, which would be you, nothing really changes, just the name of the audit changes for technicalities' sake. Okay, it is the role of the auditor to determine the scope of the audit that will be done. And when doing a certification audit and a recertification audit, typically external auditors like to consider all the elements of your organization, and when they are doing a surveillance audit, they might choose to audit subsections within your organization. Therefore, they might, for example, choose not to audit all your processes, but they choose to audit some of your processes. Okay? Naturally, this has no implications on you as an organization, because after having implemented an ISO standard within your organization, it is your responsibility to make sure that you are still following all procedures for all processes within your organization, okay, to make sure that you are following the principles that you would have implemented within your management system. And I personally think that this system of having an internal audit and an external audit carried out within your organization every year is critical to why ISO certifications are beneficial to organizations. This is because, unfortunately, as human beings, we tend to forget any improvements that we implement both in our business and in our life. And having these audits, 2 audits per year, will definitely remind you of the procedures and policies that you will have implemented within your organization, making sure that both you and your employees and everyone within your organization is following the procedures that you would have implemented while going through the implementation process of your ISO certification. The final question that I wanted to speak about relates to the costs of renewal. Okay, so when it comes to renewal and renewing your ISO certification, effectively there will be no extra costs except the cost that you would have already been paying every year. Okay, so as I have explained, the external auditors will come to your organization every year. This means naturally that you will need to pay them every year for them to do the surveillance or recertification audits, and as such their fees from the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, etc. tend to be the same. Some certification bodies like to price their certification audits at a price, and then the surveillance audits will be at a lower price, so it would be a 3-year agreement, and then that 3-year agreement would restart again after your certificate has expired. Effectively, this changes very little to your management system, because once you have implemented the management system, all you need to do is to maintain it and to improve on your management system. This means that the cost of consultants, for example, like myself, when helping you to implement the management system will be a certain fee, but then to maintain your ISO certification, it will be less than 10% of that actual fee, because when I am assisting clients to maintain their ISO certification, my role is that of helping them to do the internal audit, management review, and to be present when the external auditors visit your organization. So when you are renewing your ISO certification, effectively, you don't need to recreate your management system. You don't need to start afresh. Rather, at the first implementation, you are creating a management system that should be updated over time, naturally, not just because an audit is coming, but because you understand the importance of having a streamlined and updated management system within your organization. Okay, and that is all I had for you for this video. Okay, I hope that you found this video to be interesting, and if you have any questions about choosing a certification body that is suitable to the needs of your organization, I would love to help you make such a decision. Okay, and I would also love to help you implement a management system within your organization in a way that will benefit your organization. Thank you so much, and I look forward to working with you.